everyone. I'm Kendria. I need you to go like, follow, and subscribe. Soul Productions.
What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking.
What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Next Level Thinking, where we always bring you inspired guests to help you take it to the next level. It's your host, Chris Holmes, as always, and I have a special guest with me by the name of
Kisha.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and hit the ground running, the foundation, and tell the audience just a little bit about yourself.
Yes, well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. My name is Kisha Wallen-Duquesne. I'm a licensed professional counselor and supervisor at the practice, and I'm the owner of optimisticcounseling.com. I love working with young Black professional women who are in the corporate America world, or also may be business owners as well, who might get stuck from depression, anxiety, or low self-esteem. They're really high achieving, but sometimes they just need help remembering that being strong doesn't mean suffering in silence. It doesn't mean doing everything on your own. Sometimes it means knowing when to delegate, when to ask for help, or even when to say no. So that's who I like working with, and that's what I like doing.
Awesome. I love those answers and things like that. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's I put it like this. What's the origin story? So like, where did this all come from? Because everybody has a background story of like what pushed them to start doing this. They found their purpose and things like that. So what led you to go on this route?
Well, I have always kind of been like the advice friend. Even back to like middle school, I remember people would just come and talking to me. People felt comfortable talking to me, and that kind of morphed into me majoring in psychology and counseling and sociology in college. But what inspired me to go from being an employee to starting my own private practice was just realizing that I'm grateful for all of my employment opportunities, but I just kind of came to the realization that my job is no longer serving me. And I feel like my purpose more aligns with being able to directly serve a need within my own community. And there's been like a real wave of mental health awareness, and people are talking about it in public more. Celebrities are talking about it, so it's become like more acceptable. And I just want to be like, the fact that I am a Black female therapist is changing the narrative of therapy in and of itself. And I just want to be a representative to let people know that there are therapists out there who look like you, who understand where you're coming from and what you're going through, that you can feel safe and feel just open talking to about the things that are going on that are unique to you, coming from the community that you come from.
Now, I got to come into that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because we're like in the social media age, internet, and things are going a lot more faster and much more. But to be completely honest, mental awareness, because of the internet, I think, and of course, TV, but the internet is just making it like a lot more faster, is bringing that awareness as it should. Because in the past, people may be like, okay, or treat a person certain differently, and now it's become a norm of a common thing. But in reality, this has been going on forever, like way before we were even here. It's just like sometimes it just takes, I guess, that shift in the trends for it to be more accepted, so like people can talk about it. And you are right. We have a lot more celebrities talking about this. I remember like The Rock and some other big ones. But to be honest, I mean, you have presidents and even honestly, like big time geniuses have made great accomplishments in America and different across the countries and things like that, have done big things. And they were all facing their own kind of mental, struggles and battles, because it just shows it's not nothing that's new. It's just good that it's finally getting awareness, and we're making it so people can talk more about it, because I feel like people were holding in so much that it's built up.
Yeah, they really were. And I just feel like I want to be a part of that movement. Like I was saying, mental health issues have been going on since the beginning of time. It's just a matter of like finally getting permission to talk about them out loud, to talk about them in front of people who look like us. Because you're right, It has always been a very taboo topic, especially I feel like within the Black community. It's kind of like what happens in this house stays in this house. Don't go out there telling those people your business, and that's for crazy people.
And that is like one of the biggest things that I think has hurt us as a culture, because like I said earlier, like we hold everything in, and that is a common answer. But like, whatever happens in this house stays in this house. And you're like, I don't have nobody talking to about this.
Yeah.
It's like you get shunned, and you're like, you're finding, I feel like, other outlets like in your own mind trying to figure out, okay, which way should I go to handle this situation, when these should be like family topics you, I guess, speak on at the table.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes people end up in outlets that aren't that healthy because they don't know how else to express it, and they're not allowed to express it in front of their family or friends or whatever. Especially with males, males already have
Pride.
pressure to quote, be a man, man up, toughen up, quit out above, big boys don't cry kind of thing. And then on top of that, if you have mental health issues, or even if you don't have mental health issues, you just want to feel your feelings, like that's not acceptable. And then I feel like for females, a lot of females, especially in the Black community, are almost like the pillar of their community. They are a single mom, they take care of their mom, they're in school, they have a job, they're starting a business on the side, they're the go-to person in the family for advice, for money, for guidance, for prayer, for everything. And they're so used to being a strong Black woman all the time, they don't realize that taking time to take care of yourself is how you take care of your family, because we need you. And if you're not here, not healthy, you can't help the other people around you.
And that's one thing I strongly agree with too, because I'm not gonna lie, in the past I used to try to like give, and inside I'd be draining. And I was like, okay, if I want to, be able to provide even at an even greater scale, I got to make sure I'm good. I always go back to that analogy of you got to put your own mask on first before you can help others.
Absolutely.
And I think the issue is a good chunk of people think that's selfish, when it's like, no, I'm making sure I'm together, because I'm gonna use a funny one. Like, if I'm sinking and I don't fix my boat, we're basically gonna be like two boats pretty much sinking underneath. So it's best.
Yeah. So who got saved? Who saved there?
So
everybody
it's best.
Drowned.
Yeah, and that's no good outcome. So it's best to like, let me fix this, because if this shit's going down, let me fix this, and then after I'm set, I can fix you. But I had a question, and that's what it was. Regardless, how do you feel? And trying to see how I can put it. Why do you think there's a shift into the point where I guess the Black woman has to actually be the strong point in the family? Because I think in the past, probably like early 90s or 80s, it was the male figure. And I feel like there's been a shift. And now like the female is the one taking care of the kids and things like that. I know this is like probably a touchy or, a big question, but is this something you can't, it's obvious what's going on today.
Well, I agree with you. I kind of feel like it depends on who you ask, what kind of answer you'll get to that question. And it can be touchy depending on, I guess, who's involved in the conversation. But within the Black community, it's so many ways to answer that. I can answer that politically, like with the prison system, crack age back in the 80s, like all of that affected the male presence in the house, in the Black household. But now, so I think there's always been an element of a strong Black woman, even as I guess as relatable as just a single parent. Like everybody knows a single Black mom. So that kind of has always been there. I think, well, what I've noticed more now is I think there's a statistic that says Black women are either like the fastest growing or the largest, something like that, the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs right now. They're the like highest educated group of people. So I don't know, maybe they're just going after what they want and changing the narrative on their own, not waiting to get rescued or see if they can wait for somebody to come along. They're just doing the things that they know they need to do and getting that in order first. And then if someone does come along, then great. But it seems like they're just starting to take charge of their own narrative in their lives.
Yep. And that I definitely agree, because, you're seeing more women, a lot of my classmates from college, you know, taking that move and like, okay, I got to get educated, or like their kids are their motivation. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
regardless, I got to make sure I take care of home. So I need to do what I need to do to either increase his income, things like that. I can't wait around because like the
Right.
bills are coming in, you know, y'all can't pay the bill. Like, hey, give me like 2 more weeks and I'll pay you. The bill's like, no, I'm at your front doorstep and you got
Right.
to pay me now or I'm kicking you out kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody got time for none of that?
Exactly. So, like, what are some of the things that you're doing now to? I know you got your business and things like that, but tell the audience what are some of the projects you got going on to help out.
So like I said, I have my practice called the Optimistic Counseling Practice. I offer free face-to-face therapy consultations that can be scheduled at the optimisticcounseling.com. I also have an ebook that is available on the site for free. It's called 10 Reasons You Might Feel Some Type of Way, Sis. And it's just a quick overview of some depression and anxiety symptoms and some quick tips on what you can do about it. And I'm kind of out and about networking and just trying to let people know that it's okay to have a therapist. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay. I'm a Black therapist who has been to therapy more than once. And I always like to tell people, if you see a therapist who's never been to therapy, you need to run, because that person has not done their work yet. Everybody needs to be in therapy at least at some point in their life, especially if you're going to be in this profession, because it can be a lot to take on the burdens of other people as a daily profession. But at the same time, it's very rewarding. This is my passion. I love helping people. And, if you cut and bleed, I can't help you. I'm gonna pass out, and then nobody's gonna help you either. But this is my way of helping people. So I won't be a doctor, but this is my way of helping people. I like to see women be empowered. The women that look like me, I'll help anybody, but I really like seeing the women that look like me feel empowered to take charge of their lives and not be stuck in like low self-esteem or imposter syndrome, or not sure if they have what it takes, because you really do already have what it takes to get you to the next level. You just got to tap into it, and that's okay to know sometimes to when to reach out for help to get access to that.
Definitely agree with that. Now, I've been listening very carefully, and you said one key word that I really keyed on, and that's going to my next question is burdens. Do you feel like a lot of times when it comes to facing these mental issues, it's carrying on the burdens of the past? I feel like, this is my own opinion, and you give a response off of this, a lot of the big burdens that a lot of people hold on can either be, most biggest ones probably from family members, really hard one, the spouse that they actually married,
Mm-hmm.
or even at work. And I feel like there's probably the list goes on, but I feel like these are the three major ones that impact a person's life directly because they constantly got to be around it. So how do you feel on that?
Yeah, sometimes you can't change your environment, but you can change how you react to it. So knowing warning signs of when you might be about to get upset, or knowing what triggers you, and knowing that information sometimes is enough to prepare yourself against it. Now, family is family. We can't always get away from that, but you can love people from a distance just because you're related to them. And sometimes it's hard to implement that with your own parents because they're your parents. So enough said with that. But sometimes the burden you feel as far as like not being supported or receiving a healthy type of love from them isn't there. So in order to maintain your own sanity, you might have to set up boundaries for your relationship, and boundaries are for you. They're not for other people. It's to preserve your peace and your state of mind so you can just so you can manage yourself on a daily basis. Now, if it's somebody you married and it's an unhealthy relationship, I think a lot of times when it gets to the point, I think that's why the divorce rate is 50%, and people say that therapy doesn't work, is because by the time people go to therapy as a couple, it's kind of too late. Like both parties have already like checked out and are done. So if you notice issues going on, you want to try to address them as early as possible. There is no such thing as it's too early to go to therapy. As a couple, you can go to therapy. And I also want people to understand that couples therapy is not just for married people. A lot of times the reason that marriages end is because they bring all the problems that they had before they got married into the marriage. And they think that getting married is going to be a magic wand that's going to solve all the problems. But all it really does is magnify it, because now you're married. You have nowhere to go except like that person. So getting started in therapy as early as possible is one good thing. And then at your job, I think everybody has had an experience with either a toxic work environment or a toxic boss. Both can be like almost impossible to manage. So again, recognizing triggers and warning signs of knowing how someone is, and remembering that that's about them and not about you, and not allowing it to let you get outside of who you are or your character. And that's kind of easier said than done, but it really is true. Understanding like what the warning signs are, or I know this person is going to do this, that, or whatever. So just be prepared for that. And this is probably not professional, but I always say, like, I'm not going to let no job kill me. I'll kill y'all before y'all kill me, but y'all not going to kill me today. Okay. It is just a job. It is not work. And it's just a job. I'm not minimizing that you need a job for your livelihood. Everyone does. However, it's not worth your mental health. It is not worth your physical health if you stressed out so much that you ended up in the hospital from your job. Find another job, because they will replace you like that. So don't give up your sanity for your workplace.
And right there, she just dropped the mic.
Secrets out.
So I want to think I got time for like one more deep question. All great answers. I was like, sitting in the back, take some notes myself. Like, she got a good point. But I think this one right here is a big one, and I listen to. A good point of it is like when parents are sometimes the cause. Of course, they want to do the love and things like that to provide the best opportunities. But I've been hearing stories, and now this is becoming more aware of, some of my friends say like, I didn't do this career path because my mom or dad wanted me to do this, and now I got into, I can't stand it. Or I wanted to go in school, but my mom thought it was a bad idea and super expensive, so I never went, and now I'm regretting this. Think I should have, and I'm wondering how. Or I want to move to this different city and try to get myself exposed and like just even if I would have failed, get the experience so I can learn from someone. And my parents talked me down out of that, and I'm kind of regretting it, and I should have took that jump. So how do you feel on this? Because I think, especially when you either from graduating from high school or even from college, because a lot of times when people graduate from college, they don't already automatically have their own spot, and sometimes they got to go from that degree, kind of like staying home for a little bit and getting themselves set. So how do you feel on that?
Well, I think it's very common to be pressured into doing what your parents want. I mean, they're your parents. You want to please your parents. You some of us even, that's our way of, quote, paying them back. We can never pay them back for what they've done for us, but, making them happy with the career choices we make in life is our way of paying them back. So, because we like to see them proud of us and stuff like that. Me, I'm first generation Caribbean, so I understand what that means. Us Africans, Asians, most minority groups have a different type of relationship with our parents than our counterparts, and their influence doesn't stop at 18. Especially if you have to come back to their house after college or after a career to kind of, figure things out like that. That voice is always in your ear. So that's why I said creating boundaries. You have to know beyond the shadow of a doubt what it is that, like, what you're doing is your passion, is your calling, is your dream, that's what you want to do, that you would be willing to face their pushback, even in like you'd be willing to face it because that's how much you care about what you want to do and the dream that you want to grow. I listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I know a lot of people do, but he talks about this all the time. Like pretty
Ding,
much,
ding, ding, hit one of my favorite ones. Keep going.
yeah. Like I'm not gonna say what he says, but he would say like, who cares? Like, stop thinking about what other people think and do what you think. My piggyback on that would be, it's never too late to start. If you have regrets about not going to school, about not starting that job, and about not starting that business, today's a new day. Do it now. Because what he says, I agree with. They're going to be more proud of how happy you are versus the job or the career, the job title that you have. If you can show them that what you're doing is making you the happiest human being on earth that you can possibly be, and you're able to take care of yourself by doing it, then they'll come around, and you're grown. So they will have no choice but to come around at some point. So, and even if they will, but I'm just going to say, even if they don't, it's about you being happy. And if you're not taking anything from if you're not sacrificing their happiness for your happiness, they're not putting in anything and they're not losing anything because you are happy with the path that you're taking, then you have to love them enough, love yourself enough to know that making your parents happy ultimately really means making sure that you are happy, because they ultimately want to know that you're okay in whatever it is that you're doing.
Awesome answer. All right, so with that, we're going to be closing out. Make sure, tell the audience where can they find you.
Yes, well, the fastest way to find me is at my website, optimisticcounseling.com. All my social media is listed there, but I'm on Instagram at Optimistic Counseling. Twitter is Optimistic Kisha. Facebook is the Optimistic Counseling Practice. And I think LinkedIn is the same. So I'm everywhere all the time in all the ways.
Awesome. So make sure you follow up with all our social medias and much more. Great inspiring stories that we keep the scene going. It's your host, Chris Holmes, always bringing inspiring guests. And today my guest was
Kisha.
And we're out. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share all the social media and playlists so we can keep the momentum and helping people take it to the next level. Peace.
Bye.